Yeah. So good morning and good afternoon, and thank you very much, IAS and also APCOM to invite us, Glink, to speak, on behalf of the community in Vietnam about the HIV self-test. So we would like to bring, to you some information, not too technical, but how do you say, more coming from the community side, and how the CSO and the CBO are involved in the whole process, and how we are trying to to promote it, and also the way that we are looking forward about the HIV self-test in Vietnam. Yeah. So as you can see, that the title of my presentation today is about the HIV self-testing in Vietnam, the policy and practice. So I would like to walk you through a little bit more about what happened in the past, about a few years back, when Vietnam didn't have the HIV self-test service yet. And the next slide, please. Yeah. Yes. So before 2015, how do you say the government was playing the monopoly role in the HIV health service in Vietnam. So by that time, if you want to do the HIV test, you had to go to the government outpatient clinic or the healthcare providers. There is no other choices for you and for the community to do the HIV testing. So by that time, the HIV testing uptake was very low. It's approximately about 30%. Yeah, as you can see, the figure for 2011 and 2012 and 2013 on the right hand side of the slide. The next one, please. So by that time, the community was playing a very critical role in, in promoting the HIV testing in Vietnam. They are doing the outreach, going to the field to do the outreach. And when they have the contacts with the client, they can do the risk assessment first. And then the only thing that they can do afterwards is to refer the clients or the KP to the government testing service site. Yeah. The next one, please. Yeah. So why do we need to have HIV self-testing in Vietnam? The first one is because, as most of you have known, that HIV epidemic in Vietnam is concentrated in the key population, and also, as I presented in the previous slide, the uptake of the HIV testing was rather low because of some problems, yeah, and the barriers happening in the community. Yeah. So, and Vietnam also, in recent years, have committed to the international community and the UN that they want to achieve the goal 1995 by 2020. That is committed by the Ministry of Health in Vietnam. So, in order to accelerate the case detection to meet the first 90, the Ministry of Health, they have to recognize the importance of the potential of the new HIV testing strategies in order to have the country meet the target. Yeah. So next one, please. So let's come back to the HIV self-test pilot studies. Yeah. So back to the year 2015, by that time, how do you say, we got the funding from USAID, from PEPFAR USAID through PATH. So PATH by that time was the implementing partners of PEPFAR in Vietnam. So they were the leading one to initiate the lay testing and later on the HIV self-test. Yeah. With the collaboration from the Ministry of Health and the other implementing partner, which is very important, that is the CSO, the MSM, the female sex worker, and the people who use drugs. Yeah. So as you can see, that all the steps are on the slides showing that we need the evidence regarding the key population acceptability of the HIV self-test, and also the preference and willingness to pay to inform the pilot intervention and the future guidelines. That's why we need to have the strategy for that happened within 2 years in order to prepare for, to set the background for the next step, of the HIV self-test in Vietnam. The next one, please. Yes, thank you. As you can see, some of the results from the needs assessment that happened in Vietnam about the HIV acceptability and willingness to pay. So the aim of this study is to assess the acceptability, the preference and willingness to pay for HIV self-testing among the female sex worker, the MSM, and the people who use the drug in both the rural and the urban regions in Vietnam. So the overview study of the study is to, the data reported here from the larger across sectional study conducted from April and June 2015, and trying to assess the overall key population use, preference, and willingness to pay for the service. And we conducted this one in Ho Chi Minh City, Cần Thơ, Nghệ An, Hà Nội, Hải Phòng, and Điện Biên. And the population size, in total we have nearly 1,300 people who use drug participating in the study, and with the same amount with the female sex worker, and we have about 1,500 MSM who interview. The participants, participated in this one by using the respondent-driven sampling. So those one who they will get the information first when they come to participate into the study. They will get information about this HIV self-test, some very standard information first, and then they will be asked about the hypothetical questions, including the intention to use, the test preference, and willingness to pay. The next one, please. So this is the HIV self-test startup in Vietnam. So based on the result from the needs assessment, we could first launch the HIV self-test service in Vietnam, started from May 2016. So by that time we had two choices. First one is the assisted and the unassisted HIV self-test through the key populations in the big cities in Vietnam, that is in Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, and Nghệ An province. And they have two choices: the blood-based assay. We use the test kit Ale half in May 2016, and three months afterwards, we could introduce the oral fluid assay, that is the oral quick half. So the team, with the leading role of PATH and USAID and PATH in Vietnam, and with the strong and critical role of the community who participate into the study and the whole process, we could introduce we can produce, the insert and the poster, and with the social medias and all the materials and the communication channels who are developed into Vietnamese, so that they can support the community to participate into the using of the service. We also have the strong support from the other local NGO and the provincial Department of Health, and also from WHO. And I have to emphasize that it is a strong and critical role of the community, of the CSO, who are involved in the whole process, from planning, implementations, and also the lessons learned. The next one, please. And I have to emphasize that, thanks to the first result from the pilot study, we could get a strong commitment from the government. So we have very good, political will from the government. And also, as a result of that, on the right-hand side, we can see that the national guidelines on HIV testing that was released on April 2018, they have some mentioning about how to conduct and how to supervise the HIV self-testing in Vietnam. So that is the HIV self-test in Vietnam has now officially been recognized and regulated by the government, by the Ministry of Health in Vietnam, yeah, which is the success for Vietnam. In terms of the how to the next slide, please. Sorry. In terms of how to generate the demands from the community for HIV self-test, we use a lot of the offline and online channels. For the offline, we can provide the information for the clients, for the KP, when we conduct the outreach activities, or for the people who are coming to the clinics. And for the online channel, we use very much the social media. We use the Facebook, and we use the very hookup apps, and we also have the channel, the TV channel is called MTV, and we design also the banners and trying to focus to target the specific subgroup of the community. As you can see, some samples of the banners and the poster that we produce to assist the demand generation. The next one, please. Yeah. So here are the results up to the end of 2018. I'm not going to present this one because I know that it is a little bit old, based on the result, the figure that doctor just presented previously. But again, you can see that the HIV self-test has played the critical role in the HIV testing landscape in Vietnam. Yeah. So as I said, the key population has been playing the critical role in the whole process. Here are the example of the service of differentiated HIV testing service in Vietnam. As you can see, Glink has become one of the first CBO and CSO participating in the pilot lay testing in Vietnam, and later on the HIV self-test project in Vietnam. So most of our technical and administrative staff are coming from the LGBT community, and we are being trained to provide the lay testing and also how to conduct the self-testing to assist client doing the self-testing. And we also have the extended service hour from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., which is very important because most of clients in the past, they could only come to the government healthcare providers, which is closed after 5 p.m. So now with the extended time of service hours, we can fill in the gap to serve the large amount of the clients. Here are the building blocks of the Glink differentiated ART delivery model. So we are fortunate to become the first private ARV clinic in Vietnam in 2017. For the time being, we together with the other two private clinics in Ho Chi Minh City, that is Galang and my home. Yeah, we are providing the fee-based ART, and also part of that, the fee-based HIV testing. We use the test kit ALE combo for that. So we, together with the other two private clinics, we have set up a strong partnership with some government healthcare providers in Vietnam. And we have successfully made the rollout of the private clinic ARV model to the other provinces in Vietnam. Looking forward, in the past, we could only the HIV self-test, in some selected provinces in Vietnam. But now, with the policy from the donor and also from the government, we need to expand the HIV service, including the HIV self-test, to other regions in Vietnam, that is the northern economic zones and Ho Chi Minh City metro provinces. We also see the importance of, we need to improve the service led by the key population in order to generate the community demands. and also to increase HIV service uptake in Vietnam. We also we know that also very important to increase the community rights to access to multiple service in Vietnam by having the strong and close partnership between the private and the public services in Vietnam, because some of the public healthcare providers, they could only provide ART, but they cannot provide the STI. So those one we want to make a strong collaboration with the people there at the healthcare, at the public healthcare provider, so that they can refer those one with the STI needs to the private clinic, including Glink clinic. And we need also to roll out the sustainable KP-led private service in Vietnam, so that we can serve and we can fill in more gaps of the HIV testing service needs of the key population in Vietnam. The next one is the last one. It is a very brief, yeah. So thank you very much. I know that is very brief, but you can always have the question, and we are so happy to respond to you, especially coming, the points from the perspectives of the community and how the CSO and the community are involved in whole process. Yeah, we just leave the two email address of Thanh and myself here. So if you need to discuss in details of some other points, or if you need to ask any questions, please feel free to contact us. Thank you very much again, APCOM and IAS, and all of you for your attention. Yeah. Thank you.